I spent many years holding myself to the smart girl identity, mostly because, well, it's stuck. But then I realized something that some of the dumbest people that I knew were seemingly the ones winning, living the life happy with their friends, family, finances, all the things. And I don't mean dumb in a literal sense, like lack of intelligence or carelessness. I more so mean dumb in the sense that they're unattached, or dumb in a way that makes the average person sick to their stomach because they're seemingly making these decisions that are breaking the rules of all the things we're supposed to be doing, and it's working out really well for them. So you know what I did? I decided to try it for myself. And it was the best decision I ever made because my life absolutely changed for the better at a pace that I couldn't even conceptualize. Now listen, I know a lot of you who click this can already relate to the smart girl, smart guy identity or some other adjacent identity. The conversation we have today might sting a little because my goal here is to break everything you think you believe about yourself to hopefully convince you to act so dumb you pull off your biggest comeback yet. Hello, my name is Danae. I am super excited for today's yap. If you are watching on YouTube, by the way, you can also listen on Spotify at Pretty Philosophical with Danae Seaton. It's always linked in the description, along with my weekly newsletter, which I'd basically describe as my YouTube videos in written form on crack directly to your inbox. If you're interested in that, again, you can find it in the description or at prettyphilosophical/Danae. So let's get straight into things. I tied myself to the smart girl identity for many years. Why? Because I was praised for it. I mean, it's really relatable because the world is kind of set up for us to tie our identity to school, but that identity transcended outside of school, meaning that because my family and friends saw me as this good academic girl, I had to keep up appearances insofar as making decisions that identity would hold up. The job at the company you can name at the Christmas dinner when the aunts that you haven't seen in 3 years ask you what you're doing, or so your parents can make a Facebook post, a range of things. You start to move and project what you believe you should do to hold on to this identity that you have been praised to hold on to. This is detrimental. A lot of times when you tie yourself to that specific smart girl, smart guy identity, you sit somewhere in the middle where you're just overthinking things all the time and it leads to inaction because you're trying to overanalyze and perfect things. And it keeps you in this weird position where you're trying to appease yourself and other people around you, which doesn't really work. So you don't really do anything with it. And you're left in this endless loop. You feel soulless, yada, yada, typical average person's life. There's two kind of ways you can go. You say, you know what? I'm just going to make the smartest possible freaking decision and analyze everything to a T and calculate all of the numbers and see like what really would be the best thing from analyzing this to the bone. Months down the line, you're going to end up at the specific decision. Also, if you were just like, you know what, let's F around and find out and just make a really quote dumb decision right now, unattached decision, as I explained it in the beginning, those two decisions, the super intellectual one that took however long to figure out and the dumb one, more times than not, they end up at the same end result. Because what it really comes down to at the end of the day is the bare bones fundamentals. There's different routes to get to one place. There's a shorter route and a longer route, and fundamentally the paths are carved out and they're all leading to the same place, right? So Exhibit A, the first dumb decision I made that went against the smart girl identity, that didn't give me all of the validation and praise and things, was I said, I'm just gonna sell some jewelry on Etsy. See all these people on the internet doing it. Seems like they're making money. I'm gonna do that. And I'm just gonna post some TikToks and we're gonna figure it out. Only somebody who was so dumb and naive about the realities of the world, the economy at the time, the percentage of Etsy stores that succeed or people that actually even make money from posting TikToks or whatever the case is would make that decision. Only somebody so dumb in that regard would make that decision. The super smart person who kind of understood or who analyzed the trajectory of the future of self-employment and work and could look at the trajectory of TikTok and all the things, they might come to that same conclusion too. So the dumb person and the super intellectual person might get to the same response. That decision worked out pretty damn well for me because while I'm not still selling jewelry on Etsy, I did make tens of thousands on Etsy. And it was the beginning of my life today. Multi-six-figure freelance marketer, working with some of the coolest D2C beauty brands, posting on YouTube, featured in Vogue Business for my thoughts on freelance marketing, all the things. I didn't even go to school for marketing. Dumb. Right? Hey, cutie. Sorry to interrupt our little yap session, but I do have some exciting news. I'm hiking in the French Alps right now. Beautiful view. Shout out freelancing for allowing me to do this. Actually, I know that a lot of you that watch me are interested in freelancing. You're not really sure how it's going to work, but you are desperately seeking to make 2026 and beyond your main character year, especially when it comes to your finances and work. So I've been putting together something super fun, main character year workshop, which is going to take place on November 24th. The link to sign up is in the description. Last time I held a workshop in July, over 300 of you showed out on the Zoom. Sign up before spots get filled up. Entering your main character year, building the freelance business that you want, requires you to make an intentional decision to do so. It's not just going to happen out of thin air. So this is designed to be your first step and positioned perfectly. So you don't start on January 1st. You enter the new year with everything you need. Can't wait to see you guys there. Okay, back to yapping. Bye. So the reason that this is so powerful is because being dumb is kind of like an ego death. It's the fastest way to meet the next version of yourself. Think of it like this. Every dumb move allows you to open up a room for the possibilities of who you could be. And every safe move or lack of keeps you where you're at and reinforces an identity that you hold on to and will never let go of. So here's what it's actually like to move dumb in practice, because that's what we do over here. We give you practical advice so you can move on and not just use videos to make you feel good like you're doing something with your life. Nope, not over here. Okay? Most people overcomplicate it. This is going to make it simple. Number one, we are thinking less. And if that scares you, reframe it this way. For every idea or thing that you have that feels dumb, you take twice the action on it instead of trying to overthink it and stay in that messy, weird spot in the middle and never do anything on it. And you make sure you stick to that rule. Double the amount of action for every time you spend overthinking it and doing nothing. In life, motion is the most important thing. You need to be in action. Motion is proof of belief. When you take action, when you're in motion, it tells life, I'm serious enough to participate. And you know what? People respect that too. And people will begin to rally around you and help you in your process. Maybe not literally, but emotionally, or telling people about what you're doing, or seeing this new identity you're forming and joining on with you. In action, it says, I don't really believe in myself. But when you just do the dumb thing that seems stupid, it says, I believe in myself. That's the difference. That's why the dumb person seemingly has all the things, because they believe in themselves enough to just take the action that seems unattached. Wait, how come they're getting the thing and they're not following this thing that people say you should do and this rule and da-da? Because they believe in themselves enough to take the action. That's it. Blindly, seemingly dumb. They get rewarded for it because they have motion, literally. Next, we must reframe being bad, embarrassed, or feeling cringe about something as something good. This has been so imperative for me, because this, while doing it, builds even more room for growth and more room for you to then have confidence. Because what happens is we all have this baseline understanding, feeling uncomfortable, weird, or looking bad at something means we're wrong or dumb. No, actually, the person embarrassing themselves or being willing to not look amazing at something are the ones who will inevitably win, because the fact that you're even willing to be at that point means you're willing to learn and get better. And that's the only way you can win. You can't win thinking about doing the embarrassing thing, right? So reframe, like literally feeling like in the moment when you're bad at something, yes, I'm growing. As an example, I quite literally 6 months ago had videos that got 50 views on YouTube, that I spent hours filming and having people edit and da-da-da-da. Multiple videos getting no views. It's like kind of cringe and embarrassing. But I told myself, every video is a lottery ticket. I'm just going to keep posting until something clicks. And also, I'm growing. I'm learning. I'm understanding what's working, what's resonating, what's not. And that I did, because I had this reframe that the action I was taking, that the uncomfortable, weird feeling was actually good for me. So a way to kind of just force yourself into this form of thinking is, if you think something is mid, if you find yourself toiling and trying to perfect something, just press send. Just post it. Just do it. I know you have something right now that you're just like, I don't know. You're looking back, and just post, do it, send it, mail it, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, just put it out there. This is the only way you get better. And tell yourself after you do it, when you're, oh my goodness, I can't believe I did this, remind yourself, I'm going to get feedback from this and I'm going to grow. This is good for me. And we're going to keep up that. I'm not saying you don't need to put quality work out there and you shouldn't have a high standard for yourself. Of course you should. This is a different story. We're living in this middle right now where we don't take action and we're in this constant loop and we don't want to be there. We are acting dumb as hell until we have the comeback we're looking for. That's not going to come with that scaredness. Got to kill the ego and just get it going. Which kind of goes into the next point. I would say oftentimes when you're acting so dumb, it works out because you're tracking what actually matters and not how things feel. It's kind of like you want X result, so I need to do X thing X amount of times and probably just brute force that or double that. And you start to see results and you're like, okay, that worked. Let me just do more. You know, you're just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's literally the decision making. Whatever the super, super smart person is thinking, it leads them back to the same result. It's like you could think this and that and probability and blah, blah, blah. Or it's just like, yeah, just probably got to do some more of that. You understand the metric that you need to measure, which is some form of action, and you measure that and you just keep doing that. The next point is also making sure that you see bad results or negative results when they inevitably come from your action taking as actual data, like a metric that you can measure rather than a representation of who you are as a person in your life existence or shame, which I know a lot about that. Every L is a move forward because you learn a lesson that can help you get to the next stage. The more L's you collect, the more mistakes you make, the closer you are to the right one. And the right one can be extraordinarily life-changing. Just let go and look at the L's as lessons and truly believe that every lesson is a step forward because, well, it is. Next, everything in life is just a feedback loop. Things that grow are not static, they circulate. So when you take an action, you create a ripple effect, new conversations, new opportunities, new feedback, resistance, lessons, all which get you closer to where you want to go. And all of those ripples effects expand into new opportunities, new possible identities, new ways for life to reward you, new paths for you to follow. And it's endless. Is it making sense now where this seemingly dumb person who's just taking this fleeting action is winning because they're opening up a bunch of loops? You know, I love to hike. And one thing about hiking is that there's just so many lessons in life. On one of the last hikes I went on recently, I got to the top of the mountain and I saw all these other peaks that I couldn't see at the bottom. And it was just a reminder of all the opportunities that open up when you reach the top. And you don't even have to reach for all of them. I don't have to get to the peak of all of those if I don't want to, but I'm presented with it because I took the action and I did the thing. And then you notice that there's more out there. That's what's happening. But when you never take the time to climb the first mountain, you'll never know. You would never know because you literally cannot see it from the bottom, from the, I don't know, I'm just gonna freaking climb the mountain. Who cares? Backpack, water, 2 legs, good to go. Next, you cannot think yourself into a new identity. It will simply not work. You are what you do. You tell yourself so you can think you're confident, you can think you're this, you can think you're that. If you don't do anything, hate to break it to you, but you're not. You're just not. You need to take action. You are what you do, what you are doing, aka nothing. Says you're fearful, that you don't believe in yourself. Does that mean you have to be tied there forever? No, but be real with yourself because that's the only way that you can grow and start doing what you need to do to become who you want to become. When you do something, it gives you evidence. It creates a ledger in your mind that says, I am this person based on these receipts that I have in my mind. Therefore, I am this person. It creates belief. Motion creates evidence, and then evidence creates belief. So you have the belief if you do not do the thing to get the evidence. So you have to take the action. You just have to do the thing. You can't just say, oh yeah, I am this person. I want to do this thing. The truth is nobody cares until you do the thing. I mean, that shouldn't be necessarily a driver for you, but it's the truth. People respect you when you do the thing. And lastly, if you're still here and nothing has convinced you yet, without action, things decay. If you do not direct your energy into something with boldness, someone else, or let's say life, will do it for you. And because it's not on your own accord, it will cause you chaos, distress, crisis, because it's so unaligned and it's not who you're meant to be. Likely you're experiencing that right now and you just feel dread and numbness. And then the movement there becomes just chaos and despair. It is better to take a dumb action than to do nothing at all. But even if you try and overanalyze and make the smartest decision, you're still gonna end up at the same place. So might as well just start doing the freaking thing. Alrighty, that's it for today. I hope 30 seconds after you click out of this, instead of being like, oh yeah, these are all great points, but then trying to overanalyze and over intellectualize this and convince yourself of all the reasons why you shouldn't go do the thing that you want to freaking do, you F around and find out and go do the thing, even if it feels really dumb in the moment. Because if that is not what you do, then I would have failed today. But thank God, failure teaches you lessons, and I'll come back and try again. If you're still here, you should probably click the YouTube video over here. You're probably gonna like it. So I'll talk to you very shortly in the next video. Bye.